Women educators are natural givers, pouring into their students, their families, and communities. But what about pouring into you? This is the Educator Sanctuary, where we help you ditch the guilt and unapologetically put yourself at the top of your list. I'm Dr. Leah, educator, mindset coach, and your guide to creating a life where you align with your purpose and reclaim your power. So if you're ready to set boundaries and step fully into the woman you're meant to be, you're definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. No. This cannot be happening to me right now. The timing could not be worse. Dang it, this is so inconvenient. Yes, that is exactly how I felt earlier this week. And if you are human, I know that you've had that exact feeling at some point. When life shifts, things you counted on started changing, and your first instinct was frustration, panic, and maybe even sadness. Hey, and welcome back to the Educator Sanctuary, where we have big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and all the things that help us live more intentionally. Whether you're a mom, a teacher, a community leader, or a woman holding space for others, this show is for you. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Leah, and I love discussing personal development and all the little tweaks that we can make to live our best lives now. So over the past couple of weeks, I have had several situations, both in my personal life and in my business, where people and routines I felt like I was counting on, they just started like shifting. And these are things for the most part that help me maintain my structure or flow and even my well-being for the most part. For one of the situations, I was in my head so bad, and I definitely was like, no. This cannot be happening right now. This timing could not be worse. This is so inconvenient. And literally in the moment, I absolutely wanted to cry. And I almost did. And for any one of the situations that have happened over the past couple of weeks, all of them would have definitely sent me into a full-blown crash out moment. But instead, I remained calm, so proud of me. And I smiled and I'm like, okay, yeah, what can I do, right? I'm sure it'll be worked out soon. I am literally a person that can get into my head. I overanalyze everything and everyone. I overanalyze body language, how people looked at me, what they said, when they said it, how they typed the email, what they said, what they didn't say. I am really in my head. But I tried my hardest not to do any of that this time. Each time that any moment came about, I snapped out of my feelings, and perhaps because I have been really good, guys, at committing to my daily gratitude practice, I actually chose not to focus on the part of me that did not like how any of these things felt. Instead, I started giving gratitude for the role that those things had played in my life when I actually needed them. Literally saying in the moment, I'm so sad, I'm so confused, I don't understand what's happening. But I'm grateful for all the ways that this has helped my life run smoother or easier or better. And then I left it there. A couple of these shifts were pretty funny because I was doing random things like cleaning, brushing my teeth, and a thought just popped in my head like, I'm not really losing anything, or nothing and no one is leaving me, or this is just part of the shift. And honestly, this is an awareness that has been building, I would say probably over the last couple of months. I've definitely had other situations where I've had to switch services that I had been uncomfortable with. But at the same time, it's like, but I don't want to give it up. I don't want to look for anything new. I was resistant, and I'm like, what I have now, it works. It's not the best, but it's working for me. And then when I finally made the changes, the experiences were literally blowing me away. I even remember telling one of my friends, I said, oh my gosh, like I do not understand why I kept putting up with these things for so long, knowing that they were offering me some type of frustration. but it wasn't every single time. It was like I was mad in the moment at some things, but they got better. For example, one very specific incident was with my payroll. So I was using this particular company for my payroll. They were fitting my budget. They were easy to use and navigate. What did I not love? The customer service was meh, right? Sometimes I would get good customer service, other times I didn't. It wasn't consistent. I didn't love their customer service. They absolutely have messed up my payroll before, a couple times actually, especially around the holidays. And instead of apologizing, like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry, how can we make this right? Or even giving me a refund because I have to pay for payroll, they just was like, oh, we're sorry. But I felt like the sorry wasn't good enough, because if someone's pay is messed up, then my company or my people are going to be looking at me. They're not going to be saying, oh, it's not her fault, it's the payroll company. Oh, it's absolutely going to be my fault. And so I was kind of upset with them. Over the summer, I vowed, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have them anymore. And it was really just the stress of me pretty much interviewing other companies to see who I liked, who was going to fit my budget. And I ended up actually going with a company that technically didn't fit my budget, but they had everything else that I wanted. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to figure out how to get this. And so when I finally made the change, the experience of this new payroll company just blew me away. I was telling one of my people on my team, they're literally the Rolls Royce of payroll. I cannot believe that I kept my old payroll simply because I was familiar. I knew how to use it. I didn't really want to learn a new platform. And once I switch, even though I am paying more, this new platform has completely changed the game for me. They make my life easy. They're so proactive. They're very supportive. I have like my own person that if I wanted to call right now, I can call them right now or text them right now in the middle of the night and say, I'm having this problem. And if they can't fix it, they're going to find someone who can fix it and get back to me. And I'm like, oh my God, this experience is worth every penny. I thought, wow, how crazy was it of me to be afraid of losing what I had and not having this better experience sooner? It's literally better than I have expected. And I have done at least two more things and made two more changes that have given me the better than expected experience. And that is the lesson here. The very things that we cling to, the routines, the people, the habit, they're not always the things that's meant to take us to the next level. Most of the time, if not all, growth requires us to let go. And what is supposed to replace it when we make the growth? Something better than we have imagined. So when I stepped back and I took a look at all of these small shifts and changes in my routines, in my program, in the services that I use, I realized that these shifts were not random. In one regard, the negative mindset would consider these things losses or inconveniences. But I chose to look at them as tests, lessons, or opportunities in disguise. Each time something changes or needs to change, I have a choice. You have a choice. We could resist and get frustrated, or we could pause, we could observe things, and we could ask, what is this moment teaching me? What is this opening the door for? And if we began to do that, you'll begin to notice patterns. You'll begin to see the bigger picture. You'll begin to notice how your response or your mindset or your gratitude practice can determine whether you're going to move into something higher and better, or if you're going to repeat the same lessons over and over again in a different package. And that is why moments like these are so powerful for change, because every single time something shifts in your life, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a routine or a person or a service you relied on. Nothing is random. It's also not a punishment or a loss. It's pretty much an invitation for you to rise up and elevate to your new level, to be able to see things differently, to be able to choose options differently than you did before. The space of what is clearing out is never meant to stay empty. It is clearing out, waiting to be filled with something. But what it gets filled with is going to really depend on you. And when we understand this, we can begin to respond to life with awareness instead of reaction, clarity instead of confusion, intention instead of fear. This is really where becoming your highest and best self serves you. Your higher self doesn't drift through change. Your higher self will meet change, lean into change, and turn that change into growth, alignment, and expansion. And that is exactly what I am hoping to teach you today. So, I want to expand upon the 4 ways that your higher self navigates these shifts to help you step into the next level of your life with power, perspective, and presence. Principles that are going to teach you not just to cope with change, but to really harness it, to reframe it, and to transform it into your advantage. So, hopefully, you got your pens out there, but if not, it's no problem. You can always come back and listen again, pause, write things down, and keep going. But number 1, every shift is an invitation for you to level up. Nothing ever leaves your life randomly. Nothing is a loss. Okay, it's an opening. So when something or someone exits your world, it's making room for what's next. Something that could be bigger, better, and more aligned. But only if you choose to handle it correctly. So think about a job. Someone leaves their job because they don't like their boss. But if they don't really learn from that situation, then they'll end up at the next job with the same dynamics disguised as a new opportunity. Relationships often work in the same way, and I cannot be the only one. I have experienced this myself, and I know people that have experienced this, so I know I am not alone. But if you have not learned a lesson in the relationship that you were in, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a love interest. It could be a relationship with a sibling, with a friend, with a coworker, a person that you're in a serious relationship with, a marriage. It doesn't matter. If you haven't learned the lesson, you will meet the same type of partner or person again, and they will just have a new face and a new name. If you really think about it, how many times have you maybe even dated someone? And then you go and you meet someone new and they seem different and they seem like everything you need. And as soon as you get into that relationship, you're like, oh my God, this is literally like the same person that I just left. And it is really because instead of you showing up differently, you reacted out of your old patterns that causes you to end up in a new situation that repeats itself with the same exact challenge. It's basically like you didn't pass the test, so here's the test again. Different teacher, same test. So when we have these areas of what I call lessons, every shift that you need to make is really a mirror showing you what you have to master to step into that next level. So when you see something, you can then change it. So for example, with my situations, especially the one that I would say hurt me the most, like made me kind of tear up and choke up and was like, oh my gosh, I do not understand what happened. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Everything will work out in my favor. Everything will work out in my favor. There is going to be a blessing that also comes out of this. Maybe it's time for me to do this. And maybe it's not me. Maybe it's just time for the situation to be over and done with because I have shifted somewhere differently and I'm no longer on the frequency to be able to accept what was happening. And so when you really start to think about it, every shift is an invitation to level up. Number two, your response is your power. How you react to what happens around you is far more important than what actually happens. Hey, Educator Sanctuary listeners. Are you a homeschooling mom or thinking about it, but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or maybe unsure how to confidently guide your child's learning journey? Maybe you're craving time for self-care, rest, or just a break, but you feel like you're doing it all on your own without anyone to turn to for help. Let me introduce you to Purpose Prep Academy, an online and in-person STEAM micro school for learners in grades K-8. Purpose Prep Academy isn't just any school, it's a space where young minds are nurtured, empowered, and taught to lead with confidence, curiosity, and purpose. Purpose Prep Academy focuses on providing students with the academic tools they need while fostering personal growth to help them thrive both inside and outside the classroom. At Purpose Prep Academy, they offer personalized learning, foster critical thinking, and provide real-world applications to help students become 21st century leaders and change makers. If you're looking for a program that can help you reclaim your time, give you peace of mind, or simply give your child a space to thrive, Purpose Prep Academy could be exactly what you've been looking for. Want to learn more? Visit purposeprepacademy.org to schedule a virtual meeting or an experience day and find out if Purpose Prep Academy is the right fit for your family. I'll say this over and over again because not everybody listens to every podcast, but it is the one most profound thing that I've ever heard someone say, and it stuck with me. And it is, whatever the situation is just the situation. The situation is always a neutral event. Life will always present challenges, shifts, and moments that feel inconvenient and unfair. But it is how you respond that's going to give that event meaning as being good or bad. The moment you respond with intention instead of fear or frustration, you begin to reclaim your authority over your life. It is in that response where your power to change your trajectory lives. So think about a tree in a storm. It could either bend and let the wind pass through, or it could just resist and risk breaking. Your response to your situation works in the same way. So when something changes in your life, whether somebody wants to leave your life, whether somebody no longer wants to do something they've been doing for you, whether it's a service that's no longer being available, you can choose to panic and focus on the void, or you can pause, breathe, and notice that a space has opened up for something new and better. This is where your growth begins. Your response will determine whether you move into something higher and better, or if you're just going to repeat that same lesson that comes in a different package. So our real power is not in controlling other people or situations, but controlling how we respond to them. Number 3, I'm a firm believer that gratitude rewires the experience. Gratitude is not just this nice idea or something you say because it sounds good. It literally changes how you experience life. So when you consciously acknowledge what you already have, even in moments that feel confusing or disappointing, it really does open your mind to possibilities that you cannot see when you are stuck in your frustration. As a matter of fact, I will go as far as to say that you're not even allowed to see a possibility, because you are ungrateful. So until you can start shifting your tongue to see the good in the situation, or see where the space is opened up, or see what else is available to you, you will not get those things. Gratitude does not erase the challenges or discomfort, but it absolutely will reframe it. It absolutely will put you in a position to recognize opportunities instead of loss or hope instead of fear. And the more you practice it, the faster your mind begins to see the flow instead of the obstacle. This is why a lot of the highest performing people consistently rise into their bigger results is because they always practice gratitude. I would always think about when I watch shows. For example, it could be the Olympics or the Super Bowl. When these people lose and it was something that they really wanted, they always stand there and say, it is what it is. I'm just so grateful. And that has stuck in my mind. I've seen some of the biggest world class athletes and performers. And it's like, at one point, it's like, man, they're super disappointed. You can even see the disappointment in their eyes, but they always stand up there to give thanks and gratitude. And they say, next time, on to the next, or something like that. It's no big deal. Number 4, every ending is really a new beginning. So nothing ever truly ends without a reason. Life is always making room for the next chapter, for the next level, for the next version of you. But so many of us resist these endings because they feel so uncomfortable, so uncertain, and definitely inconvenient. But the truth is, endings are not meant to be feared. They actually are meant to be respected. And I've noticed this with my own life recently. So, no matter the situation, instead of me resisting that change or worrying about the gap that it left in my life, I just leaned into the curiosity and said, I wonder what this is making room for. There must be something better out there, and I wonder what it is. It must be time for me to get X, Y, Z. And I imagine what could be better, what could be easier, or what will finally match the energy that I have been building inside of myself. So every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. And the more that you will see that, the more that you will stop chasing the past or clinging to something that you know you're not happy with, but you're comfortable with. And you'll start stepping into the ways that you're meant to experience what's next. And that's the heart of what I wanted to share with you today. Life is always shifting, always moving, and every single time something changes or leaves, it's not about loss. It is mostly about preparation. I believe I said this in a podcast before, but at one of the places that I worked, they have drilled into my mind that the only thing that is constant is change. That is the only thing that's constant. And the more that we embrace the change, the better off that life will be. So if you're new here, this is where it starts to get really good, because during each episode, I always have homework. And this week, I want you to meditate on something that's seemingly changing, or maybe something you know that absolutely needs to change, but you have been holding on to it because it feels safer to stay where you are. Once you've got that thing in your mind, I want you to write it down. But then I want you to write down your fear. What are you actually afraid of losing if you let it go? And what is the deeper story behind that fear? It's in your notebook and it's your personal event. So I hope that you could be real and raw and honest and deep with yourself. But then after you finish writing out your deepest fear, I want you to write down what is the best case scenario. What is the absolute best thing that could happen if you trusted yourself enough to move forward? And then after you write your fear and the best case scenario, ponder now the worst case. But here's the twist. I want you to look at that worst case and ask yourself, is this really that bad? Or am I making it bad because it's not something I prefer to do? Because sometimes the things that we're afraid to lose isn't even serving us anymore. It's just comfortable. It's like my story about the payroll service. I didn't want to really change my service, but they literally were frustrating me a lot. I even looked at other options and I decided, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll just keep it. I'll wait to see if they do something else. And when I was done, though, I was done. I went to the new service. I didn't look back. And even in the beginning of the new service, I disliked the changes. I disliked learning a new system. I disliked how frustrated I was trying to navigate around there. And I'm super tech savvy, but it was very difficult. But what I did was lean into the experience. I used the resources that were available to me. I used my customer service. I used my concierge. And every day, the only thing that I've learned in this new experience is how much turmoil that I put myself through trying to hold on to what was affordable and easier to navigate, but absolutely not making my life easier. Now I'm excited that I get to actually move my life and my business forward, and I opened the channel for new possibilities. Even today, I had an experience earlier today, right before I decided that I was going to film this episode, where they reached out to me and they were like, hey, we just want to help you with this, and we see that you need this, and let me look into your account. I'm like, oh my gosh. Even though it's probably their job to see what I need because they're getting paid for it, it's the fact that someone else has the resources and support that I need to make my life easy and effortless. And it is the best feeling in the world to have something better than I could have ever imagined, all because I made the decision to stop living in the familiar and to seek out a new opportunity. And speaking of new opportunities, I have personally been working on something brand new that I'm really excited about. It is called Mindset to Money. Now, this is not for everyone, but if you are someone who feels like you are made for more, like there has to be more to life than just going to work and paying bills, then this is definitely going to be for you. You could be an aspiring business owner, or you could have a business that you've started, but you're like, it's not giving what I thought it was going to give. You've been pouring your heart and energy and time into this business or business idea and you feel stuck. You feel like you might be working harder than ever. Maybe you're juggling endless priorities, but your results are never matching the effort that you're actually putting in. Mindset to Money is going to help you get unstuck, not by doing more, but by thinking differently. And when you think differently, you can act differently. This is actually going to help you uncover any beliefs that you have, habits and patterns that are quietly capping your growth and keeping you from the level of freedom, fulfillment, and financial flow that you know you desire and deserve. We'll be diving into mindset, money habits, and the way you show up for your purpose, because when all of those things align, everything else will start to shift for you too. So if you've been feeling that pull for more, stay tuned. I definitely will be sharing the details with you soon. It'll also be in the show notes soon. And I'd love to have you in my first round of Mindset to Money. So if today's episode has sparked something for you, please take a moment to reflect on the changes happening in your own life and what they might be making room for. Then share this episode with at least 10 friends who you also want to live their best lives now, because sharing is caring and there's enough abundance for all of us. Hopefully, I will see you soon. That is all that I have. But until next time, please stay grateful, please stay grounded, and stay open to what's next, because it could be better than you ever imagined. Talk soon. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you love what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.